I'm really excited about my latest sponsor, Shocks. You guys are going to want to hear this. If you're constantly listening to content like me, you might be listening on headphones that have the noise cancellation feature. And that's cool when you're in a crowded place. But when you're going about your day-to-day, noise canceling headphones can feel like you're in a black hole. It's isolating. Shocks headphones are here to solve that for you. Their innovative open-ear headphones let you stay both present and immersed at the same time. And Shocks is the leader and pioneer in open-ear technology, so the audio quality is incredible. I absolutely love the Open Fit 2 for all-day comfort, whether I'm on a walk, multitasking around the house, taking calls while doing carpools, or jumping into the latest docuseries. Visit shocks.com, that's SHOKZ.com, and use the code Kate Casey for $10 off your order. Stay tuned, stay open with Shocks. Let's be honest, nothing boosts confidence quite like great hair. But if you're seeing more strands in the shower, your confidence might not be at its highest. And that's why you need Hers Hair. Hers Hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients that many other hair products out there just don't have. They come in a variety of options, including oral and topical solutions, so you can find the one that works for you. And they even have options with added hair vitamins and supplements for extra support. Getting started is simple with a quick online hair quiz. Just answer some questions and you will be connected with a provider to discuss your personalized treatment plan. And through Hers, everything is 100% online. So no pharmacy trips, doctor's office visits, or insurance required. Plus, treatments start at just $35 a month. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/KateCasey. That's FORHERS.com/KateCasey for your personalized hair loss treatment options. forhers.com/KateCasey. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Hope that you have had a great week, and I've got a great Saturday series episode for you. A great guest. If you love all things books, you're going to be so happy because you're going to meet your new favorite fiction author. Her name is Jo Piazza, and I always knew that we would be friends. I met her through my friend Megan, and I had long admired her work in both print and digital media. Jo is an acclaimed journalist, a best-selling author. She's also the host of the podcast Under the Influence with Jo Piazza, where she explores the intersection of motherhood, media, and capitalism. If you like all things influencer, creator economy, and just the analysis of it, it's right up your alley. She's got a new book that's coming out next month, and it's an absolute beach read. It's called Everyone is Lying to You. It's a Tradwife murder mystery, a psychological suspense thriller that follows two college friends who reconnected years later, only for one to vanish and the other's husband to be murdered at a high-profile influencer conference. I mean, could this be more up your alley? She's also written 13 books in total. I loved Celebrity Inc., How Famous People Make Money. That was an investigative look at the celebrity economy. She also wrote If Nuns Ruled the World, 10 Sisters on a Mission, Profiles Inspiring Impact-Driven Nuns, How to Be Married, What I Learned from Real Women, My First Really Hard Year of Marriage, Love Rehab, a novel in 12 steps, The Knockoff, which is a satirical take on fashion and tech culture, Fitness Junkie, humorous critique of wellness and perfectionism, Charlotte Walsh Likes to Win, a political fiction about a woman running for Senate, The Sicilian Inheritance, which I'm telling you is right up your alley. It is a dual timeline historical mystery rooted in family secrets that is based on her own family. And like I said, you're going to want to go grab Everyone is Lying to You, which is the Tradwife thriller about disappearance and deception. So I'm telling you, this is going to be your new favorite episode because there are so many books that you're going to go to Amazon now or to your bookstore and get. And it was really kind of fun to explore how an author goes about the writing process, the publishing industry, and how all of these early life experiences, writing about celebrities and CEOs and politicians, and how that helped her in observing people in a way that she could develop these really interesting characters in her books. So here is my interview with Jo Piazza. Jo Piazza, I always knew that we would be friends, and I'm going to tell you why. I read your book, Celebrity Inc., and I devoured it. I referred to it many times when I would write pieces. I loved that book, and I'm so glad to get to know you today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I too knew that we would be friends when I started listening to your podcast, and I've had this just like very parasocial relationship with you. So I'm just so happy that we're making it happen in real life.
First question, are you related to the Piazzas of Philadelphia, Mike Piazza and his family?
I am not related to them, but I will tell you a fun story about it. When I was like young and broke and living in New York City, this was when he was on the Mets. And I went to Shea Stadium and showed them my ID. And they're like, oh yeah, of course. Like, you know, there's tickets reserved for you because we have the same last name. And I got like these VIP seats. I guess someone else hadn't shown up. And we like lived it up with free drinks and free food. And so I've never actually met him either, but I would like to thank him for that lovely Met game.
My sister dated his brother, Vince, for many years in college.
Oh, shut your mouth. So then maybe I can thank him.
Maybe we can make this happen.
We can make this happen. Totally.
That's
absolutely.
Crazy.
But yeah, no relation. Also no relation if like, you know, people from the Philly area, there's also the Piazza Honda dealership. So Piazza Honda is on the back of so many cars.
The dealerships.
Yeah, exactly. So like no relation to them.
Oh.
Totally different Piazzas.
Wow.
You know.
Well, I'm thrilled because you are a Philadelphia girl. So what was the high school that you went to?
I went to Villa Joseph Marie, which was an all girls school in the Philly burbs, because I was a 12-year-old juvenile delinquent. And in middle school, my parents were like, "We're shipping you off to Catholic school." I'm like, "We're not Catholic." They're like, "We don't care." And I went, and it was fine. It was good. I mean, we were actually taught by nuns who were so old that we had to wear name tags. Like we had a pin and a name tag on our uniform because they couldn't remember our names. So, and we had to wear it every day or we would be fined $0.25.
Oh, but was that part of the reason you wrote the book about nuns? Because they had a profound experience?
Yes. I mean, I was just obsessed with them. I was obsessed with like their whole lifestyle. And then I ended up on the nun bus, the like Democratic nun bus during the 2012 election season, and just became fascinated by nuns, and then wrote If Nuns Ruled the World, which is 10 stories of badass Catholic sisters doing awesome stuff. I mean, they were like really the first feminists, to be honest, you know, living life on their own terms and, you know, married to Jesus, but Jesus was a very benevolent and pretty checked out husband. So they got to do whatever they wanted when most women were being forced to stay in the home.
I went to Trinity College in DC where my aunt had gone, and she was a sister of Notre Dame de Namur. But then she left and she became an Episcopal priest.
I love that. I love that for her. Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Keepers?
No, I've never seen The Keepers. I've never even heard of The Keepers. Oh, my Lord.
Okay, The Keepers is a 6-part doc series on Netflix about the murder of Sister Kathy Sesnick. Mm-hmm. She taught at Archbishop Keough High School in Baltimore and disappeared one day, and then her body was found a couple months later. Well, fast forward to the doc series where her older students are now and have been trying to find out what happened to her, and in the process unraveled this whole story. We believe she was probably a whistleblower about priests that were assaulting girls in the high school, and how the police department and the archdiocese were all complicit.
Oh my God, this sounds so good. You've given me so much good content to chew on in just our like 10-minute conversation. I'm going to binge that tonight.
Binge that, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's going to speak so deeply to you because of your love for nuns, because I really do believe, just as you do, that they are the unsung heroes. They do
my God, yes,
incredible work, and they're totally underpaid.
Yes, and underrecognized and underloved. You know, when I wrote this book, I did a lot of talks all over the country with different sisters and different churches, and they would just weep in the audience because they're like, no one has seen us.
Oh.
Like, no one has told our story or thought that our stories were worthy of telling. And I became friends with them. We were on a text chain for a long time. 2 of them came to my wedding when I married my husband. They gave the blessing at my wedding, my very un-Catholic wedding. And yeah, they're complete badasses. They really are.
They really are. Well, tell me about the lens through which you write, with the thinking about your life as a young girl in the Philadelphia area. Of course, when you went to UPenn, you study economics and political communication, which is a girl after my own heart, and then start writing. But like, how did you think that kind of shaped the way that you look at the world growing up there and in the family that you came from?
Yeah, I was an only child. So I just spent so much time as a kid reading. And it was like they were my friends. They were like my siblings because it was my parents and I, and then a house full of books. And I grew up in the Philly burbs. And really, I think going to the Catholic school and spending time with these sisters taught me a lot about fairness and justice and the different ways that the world is not fair for women. And I feel like all of my books, I write in a lot of different genres. It drives my agents and my publishers insane sometimes because they're like, we like it when people write the same book over and over again. Like you get the same beach read every summer. And I'm like, this summer I'm going to write a thriller. And this summer I'm going to write something about nuns. But if there were a section of the bookstore for badass women defying the odds, all of them could be shelved there. Like they all have that theme, whether or not it is about badass nuns or a woman running for Senate, which was what my book, Charlotte Walsh Likes to Win, was a novel about, or this new one, Everyone is Lying to You, which is about tradwives murdering their terrible husbands. Like they're all stories about women defying the odds, women who want to be ambitious that the world is putting down, and them finding ways to band together to save each other.
Well, I also think you're really savvy because, and I presume that some of the subjects are connected to your own life experiences, like Charlotte, like the times that you were on campaign buses, covering politics.
Oh, yeah.
But I also think that you have a keen sense of like what people care about, what's the hot topic. Like Tradwife, the last year was such a hot topic, so quite savvy to write a book about it.
Yeah, I have gone deep down the Tradwife rabbit hole in the past year, and I've been covering influencers for 5 years on my podcast, Under the Influence. And Tradwives, they just started coming for me on my Instagram feed about 2 years ago. And I became fascinated by them because I was like, look at these women performing this strange, faux nostalgia of femininity. It's a cross between Laura Ingalls Wilder meets June Cleaver in a way that never really existed in real life. And they're saying things like women belong in the home, women should submit to their husbands. And at the end of the day, they're making major money on Instagram by creating these accounts. And so I was like, everyone is lying to you. Like that's
a conflict of interest.
Yeah. The title just caught in my head. I'm like, everyone is lying to you. None of this is anyone's reality. And I just thought it was so ripe for a fun, bananas, beach ready thriller. I wrote it in 3 months last summer.
Wow.
And I asked my editor, I'm like, how fast can we get this out? And she was like, I don't know. She's like, it normally takes the process is 2 years. And I was like, what about 9 months? Can we have it ready for next summer? And they made it happen. They pulled all these levers. We decided to make it come out in a paperback original so that it would be perfect for the beach and easy to throw in your purse. And also I don't want people to have to spend a ton of money this summer. The world is weird. And yeah, so now I'm writing Everyone is Lying to You. And I was talking about it, or now I'm publishing it, but I was talking about it at this adult book fair that I went to at a brewery over the weekend. And every time I said, oh, it's tradwives murdering their terrible husbands, people were like, that's exactly what we need right now. And I'm like, I know. I just want to deliver that for you.
Just sort of want to go to the beach and feel like they're jumping into somebody else's life and escaping everything. That's just perfect.
I know.
As the temperature starts rising, I feel that familiar urge to refresh my closet, but I'm not wasting money on pieces that I'll only wear once or for just one season. Quince changes that. Their clothes are timeless, lightweight, and far more elevated than anything else at this price. It finally feels like my wardrobe matches my standards. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. The best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury, but without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. For example, my favorite thing to get right now, 100% organic cotton cropped cardigan. Get it in vintage rose. Give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/Kate Casey for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Kate Casey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Kate Casey. You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. Where you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back, and that's why so many are switching to Mint Mobile. With plans starting at $15 a month, Mint Mobile gives you premium wireless service on the nation's largest 5G network. The coverage and speed that you're used to, but way less money. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you're going to be chilling, literally and financially. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Think about how much you're going to be saving with Mint Mobile. With all these kids in my house, I'm looking at different phone options, and this is a steal. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/realitylife. That's mintmobile.com/realitylife. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
And it's your 13th book, correct? Because 2 of them you wrote under a different name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two of them I ghost wrote actually for the TV show Younger, which it's set in the world of publishing. I love the show. I just rewatched it because it's on Netflix now, and it's so much fun. And the producers and the creator of the show, Darren Star, were like, oh, what if we took one of these fictional books that we're publishing on the show and we actually write it? And so it was called Marriage Vacation, and it was like a big plot line in one of the seasons. And all I had was like a 2 log line thing about like what it was vaguely about. And then I banged it out, and it was so much fun. I wrote that one, and then I wrote a sequel from the perspective of another character on the show. And it was the only time that I really have done something like that, but it was such a blast. And I got to read, and I just it was right after I had my son too. And so then I got to rewatch all of the episodes of Younger for work. And that just felt really nice.
I bet.
Yeah.
You've had so many kind of cool experiences, and I'm sure that it's really helped in your writing. I mean, I feel like I always say that people who study documentaries and reality shows are like anthropologists.
Yes.
And you have, I mean, even when you're writing for New York Daily News, you're like celebrity gossip, and then you're covering politicians, and then you're covering CEOs, and you're getting access to these interesting worlds. Do you consider yourself an astute observationalist?
I think so. I really do. I mean, I became a gossip columnist. I was a gossip column assistant at the New York Daily News in the early 2000s because I wanted to stay in New York City, and it was the only job that I could get straight out of journalism school. I knew nothing about celebrities, like less than nothing. And this was like the heyday of celebrity gossip. Like the gossip magazines were just coming up, and then the internet really kind of took over. And I tell everyone all the time, I'm like, I became a better reporter for having done this, for having to interview celebrities, from having to interview, the CEOs of companies. And then I became a political journalist out of that because the line between celebrity and politician just kept blurring and blurring. And it made me a really astute observer of people and how they behave and how to have conversations with them. And I was also doing it during the rise of the reality television star, a lot of which, and you've talked about this before, happened because all of a sudden you did have all these celebrity magazines, and like normal TV stars and movie stars didn't do enough stuff to fill this massive news hole. Like we needed more and more celebrities to fill it. And yeah, so I watched the entire manufacturing of what you might call a new species of celebrity, which was super cool.
Well, when I think back to the times when an A-list actor would give little access to a journalist. And then to your point, you've got these reality stars that are really the ones that are being covered. You had a kind of a window into both of those worlds, talking to the publicists. what was the feedback that you were getting from the A-list world about how they were getting a lack of coverage? And I would assume their trepidation in opening their lives, which had at that point been so behind a wall.
So behind a wall, so behind a wall. I mean, so when you had these A-list celebrities, like they were very gated except for certain instances, right? So it was like, okay, I have a movie coming out. I will give you like one quote on the red carpet. And how dare you ask me anything else about my life? Like, how dare you think that you should be privy to these things? And then with the reality stars, I mean, they're literally calling us up being like, I'm getting a boob job tomorrow. Do you want to come in and watch the surgery? Or like, hey, why don't you come to my wedding? And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, so the access is so huge. And then the A-listers in a lot of cases did have to follow suit. And it opened up new markets for them too, where they were making so much money. And Celebrity Inc., I wrote about the celebrity baby picture boom, where all the celebrities were selling their baby pictures for millions of dollars to People magazine. And it was a huge market for a while. And I ran the numbers.
Remember Jennifer Lopez's like carriage picture with the ornate like the pram, and then she had the ball gown on, and everybody was like, "This is a joke."
Yes, but it was not a joke. It was not a joke. And I mean, even then, so then it like trickled down to like the C and D list stars. We're still getting like $1 million for a picture of their baby. It's like the first picture. Yeah. It was crazy. I ran the math. I crunched the numbers at one point. And I don't think the magazines were making any of that money back off sales, of newsstand sales. But yeah, it was a wild time to be watching and covering celebrities. And I feel the same way about covering influencers these days, to be honest, because I think influencers are the new celebrities. I mean, social media is just media at this point. More people are watching a ballerina farm video at any given time than are probably watching a lot of shows on Netflix. And so I think that influencers deserve the same amount of scrutiny that we would give celebrities or anyone with power and influence, anyone that is selling things to us. So I think that, yeah, covering them feels a lot like covering celebrities 20 years ago.
What do you think about the difference, or maybe there isn't much of a difference between the celebrity, A-list celebrity, the CEO, and the politician, since you've had like a window into all of those three worlds?
I don't really know how much of a difference there is from an ego standpoint, from a visibility standpoint at this point. I also think the lines have blurred so heavily in that we all have to be these personal brands and have this very forward-facing persona. I remember I was an editor at Yahoo. I launched their travel magazine years ago and, spent time with their CEO. And, she was a celebrity in certain circles, right? In like certain tech circles. And I think that, the lines have just blurred so much, particularly between celebrity and politician these days. I mean, I also covered Trump when I was at the gossip columns. He would call me all the time. He called anytime I said anything like jokey about his hair. And he would just like call the office and be like, "It is my real hair. That is not a hairpiece. How dare you say that is a hairpiece?" And I'm like, real hair doesn't move like that, Donald. But like, this is a conversation I had to have like once a week.
Do you think that is kind of par for the course for the influencer world, that they're more aggressive with media than maybe stars of the past have been?
I do think so. Yeah. I mean, and like with reality stars, what we knew is that their lives were their livelihood, right? So like they had to constantly keep making news. So like a reality star would have to have another baby, have a wedding. Like they had to do things to keep their names in the headlines because they weren't making things to keep themselves famous. They weren't making movies. They weren't, they have the TV shows, but like they have to fill those with stuff. It's the same for influencers. I mean, so influencers, and it's not just like, we thought it was crazy that reality stars had a camera following them and that there was a half an hour show about them a week or an hour show about them a week. Influencers are feeling like a 24/7, like little screen glued to the palms of our hands. So yeah, I mean, I think that influencers court this attention in a totally different way. It is very voyeuristic. It is, like I said at the top of our episode, like very parasocial in a lot of ways, because these people kind of feel like our friends, more so even than the reality stars did years ago.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Because the reality stars too had a level of protection because they still had to work with a network, where the influencers, they are king of their own kingdom.
Their own media kingdom. And I say this all the time. The influencers are running their own media companies. And the very successful ones are making millions of dollars from doing that. And they have a lot of power to over what we think, what we feel, and now even over how we vote. I've talked to a lot of young women who look at this Tradwife and soft girl trend that influencers are pushing. It's oh, check out of the workforce, just find a man to take care of you. And a lot of these young women I talk to are yeah, I just want that life. Well, I don't want to hustle the way that you hustle. That seems terrible. But what they don't see is these women hustling, which is what I try to get across in the book.
Right. I mean, they don't know that there's a ring light and there's a videographer and there's someone who's posting for them on Pinterest and looking up the hashtags and the right time to post and all of that.
Yeah.
But don't you think sometimes the pendulum swings back and forth? There was the boss lady era and that maybe this was the pendulum swinging the other way because it was so much boss lady stuff.
Totally. And I also think there was so much girl boss, lean in stuff around the time when we were coming up that a lot of people got burnt out. I got burnt out. And also being a mom and being a woman in corporate America does pretty much suck a lot of the time. Right. So yeah, I think this is definitely the pendulum swinging the other way. For me, I always wish there's just a happy medium. I'm how about we don't just totally check out of the workforce? What if society just took care of us a little bit better? And then maybe we didn't have to depend on a man. Yeah, but no, it's definitely a pendulum swinging.
Isn't it so nice to escape to a place that truly feels like yours? I was planning to update my backyard, and there's just something about a beautiful outdoor space that's so satisfying. It's like your own backyard oasis. Wayfair's got everything you need to level up your outdoor space. They have patio sets and lounge chairs, outdoor bars and hot tubs, fire pits, gazebos, and of course, string lights. It's so easy to have a one-stop where you can make over your entire space with a resort feel without that resort price tag. I looked at patio chairs and lights, and it felt like they had every color and style. And then I placed my order, and it came back so quickly, much faster than I would have expected. So now, here I am, with patio furniture that is so relaxing in my little oasis. No more huge delivery fees for patio furniture. You can get big stuff and more shipped for free. So don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair, and you can enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. This is my favorite time of the year. Outside activities like hiking, swimming, and sports. I'm going to be spending a lot of time at the beach and the pool, and it's more important than ever to be hydrated. It's peak hydration season, and Liquid IV is the perfect companion for your hottest summer plans. They've just launched an exhilarating new flavor, Arctic Raspberry. Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solutions for smart hydration. You can explore the delicious sugar-free options including white peach, lemon lime, rainbow sherbet, and more. Plus, discover more fun flavors like cotton candy or popsicle firecracker. Just one stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. An optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. No matter what your summer brings, tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code KateCasey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code KateCasey at liquidiv.com.
So for the last 5 years, having a window into this influencer world, what do you think we can anticipate in the next year? What's the next trend that you anticipate?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I really think that we are going to see Tradwife homesteading, back to the land, continue to blow up. I really do. I mean, at this time last summer, I was I don't know, maybe it'll be over by next year. But these accounts have just exploded in such an intense way. But then I also think we're going to start seeing more men become influencers than before. I mean, I'm starting to see a really big boom in dad influencers. because, the men are finally saying these women are making so much money and I want a piece of this pie. So I think we're going to see a lot more dad influencers. And I think we're going to continue to see these influencers jump from the small screens in our hands to the small screens in our houses. I mean, much like we saw The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, that show's been so successful. And I think that we're going to see these influencers get more and more TV deals for traditional legacy media.
What about influencers becoming actors?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's like definitely the direction that we're going in. I think influencers becoming actors, musicians, the same as we saw reality stars wanting to become actors and musicians.
So the people that are going to Juilliard right now, they're thinking, well, I must go on a reality show or become an influencer so that people even know who I am, so I can even get in the door for an audition.
I truly believe that. And I mean, as an author, I think that too, right? I'm like, how do I get people to see my books and notice my books these days? And it's by building a brand online. I think my dentist is an influencer at this point.
Like dancing?
Like doing the dancing in like the dentist office videos and like things about braces and like the person that does my Botox is also an influencer. I mean, I feel like everyone has to be a personal brand these days, just kind of to break through all of the noise in the attention economy.
I know. But I do wonder if the pendulum will swing and people just kind of want to go offline at some point. Like it'll be just too much. Yeah.
Too much. I know. I don't think it's going to happen soon, but I'm like, I could see 5-10 years down the road and being like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's where we're at.
Like hard to find people. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about writing books, because I think that there are many people that are listening right now and they're like, this is actually like the dream job I've always had. And what I love about you is how open you are about the hustle. I think it's really, really important to highlight that. But I wondered first about your style of writing. And this is kind of a strange question, but do you find that you write at the end, in the middle, or at the beginning once you start a project?
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't plot. I don't outline my books. So I get an idea, and like when I like know that it's like go time for the book, I fly totally by the seat of my pants, and I do start writing from beginning to end. But I often know where I'm going to start. I know how I'm going to end, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. Like I don't know. Sometimes I'm like you referred to as like the flabby middle. I'm like I have to tone up the flabby middle to get to where I know that I want to go. And yeah, I think that freaks out a lot of people because they're like, I couldn't write without an outline. But I think that there's some magic in like letting the characters become who they want to become through the just like process of writing. I write 1,000 to 2,500 words a day. When I was doing Everyone Was Lying to You, because I wrote it so quickly, it was 2,500, and that was a lot. Like I can do 1,000 pretty easy, and I always do it first thing in the morning too, because my brain is freshest. Like by the end of the day, I like have to just like be responding to emails and stuff. But the fiction comes really well first thing in the morning. And yeah, I have to say that like once I get into these projects, like especially with Everyone Was Lying to You, like I knew how we were going to end up. I knew one of the twists. There's like a few twists at the end. I didn't know all of them going into it. But like the characters really do just like live with you for the rest of the day. If you start out writing and you get your words in, you get your butt into the seat, the characters will talk to you throughout the day. And then I'm writing myself notes for the rest of the day. And it is a dream job. That's the thing. Like I love that I get to write books for a living and that I'm going to continue to write books for a living. Like it's been really, really awesome. And I like also connecting with readers is the best. I'm going on, I think a 22 city book tour this summer, which is like, I'm just so incredibly excited for it. And yeah, it's going to be fun because people always like have such different reactions to the books too. When Sicilian Inheritance is my book that came out last summer. And there was this one woman, she was probably in her 80s and she read the book and she's like, I've always wanted to go to Sicily. My husband didn't let me travel when he was alive. He didn't let me, and he died. And I read this book and I got my passport and my granddaughter is taking me to Sicily. And I was just like, that is amazing. Like that is the best thing my book ever could have done. She got her first passport in her 80s.
Wow. Well, I also wondered when you write a book like that and those characters are so in your head, do you ever find yourself like a year or two later and then you can't stop thinking about that character that you've created and what their life would have been now? And then how do you kind of turn the volume down on that?
I can't. That's the problem. They're all like living rent-free in my head all the time. With Sicilian Inheritance, it's tricky because I know the sequel and I've started writing the sequel to it. I think we'll publish it in a couple of years. But yeah, those characters are definitely living on in my brain, which is very useful when you pitch them for TV shows. Because like studio execs are always like, how many seasons do you have? And I'm like, I can go on forever. Don't you worry about it. And same with Everyone Is Lying to You. We're working on the TV pitch for it right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, we have our core group of influencing characters. And every year they'll be at the Mom Bomb Influencing Conference at a different place. It'll just be like White Lotus, like a new mystery every year, new location. So no, but they all continue to live in my head. And they're all like constantly evolving. And yeah, I mean, I could tell you where almost every character that I've written is now.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's a whole universe of them, right? It's like the Marvel universe of Jo Piazza characters.
Who is the one character that's been in your head that you haven't been able to write a book about them yet?
Oh, that's such a good question because I actually just gave this idea to my editor. So I've been obsessed with Jane Digby. She's a historical figure. I read a biography of her years and years ago. She was just this badass woman who was an aristocrat in like early 19th century London. She had an affair with a married royal and then left her husband and young child to essentially travel all over Europe and just be like an independent woman on her own, having lots of affairs with lots of various heads of state and various royals, but also like learning to ride side saddle and speak 9 languages. And she was a muse of Balzac. And so my idea is to do a historical fiction about her with a modern day woman who finds her diary and then traces her steps through Europe.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah. I compared it. I think in the pitch that I gave my editor, I said it's Eat, Pray, Love meets All Fours.
I do like that all of your books are like, it's sort of like this meets this.
This meets this.
Yeah. I always like that. So right now, what are you in the season of right now? Are you heavy into writing? Are you taking some time to just recalibrate? Where do we find you right now?
So Everyone Is Lying to You comes out in a month, less than a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less than a month. And so I'm like heavy into the marketing, heavy into the hustle, getting all those orders in. But then I'm also editing my book that comes out next summer, which is a Parisian art heist and like the untold story of Jo Van Gogh, who inherited all of Vincent van Gogh's paintings and is the woman who made him famous, essentially.
Wow.
And so I just got edits back on that from my editor, Maya. And so I've been editing 50 pages of that a day. I just finished that this morning. And then the rest of my day will be all hustling for Everyone Is Lying to You. So it's just, I'm like splitting my brain in half between those two things. I'm also trying to relax. We're in the mountains right now with my 3 kids. I think there's maybe 3 other children here too from the neighborhood. And they're just like outside, half naked and filthy.
I know, but it's the best.
But it's the best. It's the best way for them to live. Yes.
And then I can't even imagine all of this stuff is just, you're kind of putting that in the back of your brain. Like I'll revisit that and use that as a character or like a scene in a book in the future.
Oh my God, all the time. I'm constantly taking notes. I have these little notepads in my back pocket all the time where I'm constantly writing down funny things or like funny observations about people. And I think that goes back to your question that you asked that was so good earlier. Like I kind of am a social anthropologist in a lot of ways. And being a celebrity gossip columnist really, really showed me how to do that.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you and where they can get your books. And I have to say, what's so great is you're so active with people on social media. Like you're doing Zooms for book clubs. Like, you're there. So if someone loves the books and then they will, like reach out to you and tell you about it because you love talking to people about not just the books that you work on, but just writing and females and all of it. It's so great.
All of it. Yeah, I love it. And like I said, I love the readers so much. I've zoomed into thousands of book clubs at this point.
It's amazing.
And because it's so cool. It's so fun to like get to be invited, into people's homes. And they always like, they do these great dinners and like they make all these cocktails and it's just, it's so cool to see. And sometimes I show up in person, the way that like, sometimes Bill Murray will like show up and bartend at places. And yeah, it's just been awesome. So I'm on Instagram at Jo Piazza Author, and that's the easiest place to find all of the things. And Everyone is Lying to You is about to come out. And Sicilian Inheritance is out now in paperback, which is also like, again, I just love paperbacks so much because they're so much easier than hardcovers and cheaper. And yeah, and both of them are great. In fact, they pair well together, to be honest. Like if you need, because they're very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking for a juicy, crazy thriller this summer, Everyone is Lying to You really does deliver.
Well, this is the call to action. Everyone who's listening to this episode, you're going to go out right now and you're going to get that book. And then you're going to reach out to Jo and tell her what you thought of the book and how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah, you are. I love that. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for having me on this.
Thank you for coming. I always knew we would be fast friends, and I'm glad it all happened.
I know. Me too.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my fantastic guest and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Hey, join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey, and you can get bonus episodes on Apple Podcasts and on Patreon by going to patreon.com/KKC. And also make sure that you follow me on Instagram. I'm at KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at KKC. And check back next week for all new episodes.
In the first half of the 20th century, one woman changed adoption in America. What was once associated with the shame of unmarried mothers became not only acceptable, but fashionable. But Georgia Tann didn't help families find new homes out of the goodness of her heart. She was stealing babies from happy families and selling them for profit. Hi, I'm Lindsey Graham, the host of Wondery show American Scandal. We bring to life some of the biggest controversies in U.S. history, presidential lies, environmental disasters, corporate fraud. And in our latest series, a young adoption worker moves to Memphis, Tennessee, and becomes one of the most powerful women in the city. By the time her crimes are exposed, decades later, she's made a fortune and destroyed hundreds of families along the way. Follow American Scandal on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Experience all episodes ad-free and be the first to binge the newest season only on Wondery Plus. You can join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Start your free trial today.